Well, it's a huge night for Democrats and what could be a make-or-break moment for many of their campaigns. First up in our 2020 roundup, instead of projecting confidence, Joe Biden's team is going after the media. Biden's camp claims the reason for recent negative coverage isn't because of his endless gaffes. Instead, they're blaming it on young reporters who think the 76-year-old is uncool. Greg, you laughed. Is he uncool?
No.
Or is he wise?
No. He's got problems. And the media is not doing Joe any favor by treating him like a Fabergé egg. So he's saying that they're picking on him. They're not. They're doing a reverse Trump. They're taking the spotlight away from him because at certain times he just doesn't look healthy. He doesn't look right. But they're fattening him up like a prized veal for Trump. He's like sitting in a tight cage because he's not working the muscles and he's becoming slow, succulent, and unprepared for the knife. It's going to be so bad. It's so bad, and they really need to get him out of there because it's not going to look good in come any year.
Jesse?
I think he gets bad press because he's a bad candidate. He's a relic. He's not a rock star. He wears aviators and was Barack's VP. So what? I mean, if I were a reporter covering these people, I wouldn't want to cover him. I'd rather cover Boot Edge. I'd rather cover Elizabeth Warren, even Beto O'Rourke. Yeah, I mean, the guy's a gaffe machine. He doesn't attract any crowds. I just don't see it. And if you're complaining about the press and you're a Democrat, that's a problem.
Yeah, because they're supposed to be on your side, right?
Yeah, I mean, how much more help do you need?
I'm going to take a contrary view. I think this is signs of life from Team Biden.
Ooh.
They are basically finally attacking something. After attacking the press, starting to attack Elizabeth Warren, even if they're not doing it directly. The op-ed today from the former governor of Pennsylvania, former DNC chair Ed Rendell, in calling Elizabeth Warren a hypocrite, but she's nice. I mean, that's basically what it said. I think that shows that they're willing to do some dirty work, but they're going to use their surrogates to do it. I think there's a lot more of it to come.
What about that, Juan? Do you think Elizabeth Warren's going to go after Joe Biden tonight now that they're on the same stage?
No.
They have very different lanes, right? Or do you think she'll push Biden left?
I mean, technically, if she was going to go after anybody, she'd go after Bernie Sanders because he's the one
she's
that's
she's already beating her, though. She's already
beating,
yeah, she's already beating Bernie Sanders now. It's like she's kind of leaving.
Correct. So I think the dynamic tonight is everybody says Joe Biden's in the lead. They love to see him take a pratfall, and then be able to take some of his vote. But do I think that Elizabeth Warren wants to be the one that looks like, fingerprints on the victim's back? No, because then that would hurt her with fellow Democrats big time. So I don't think she's going to do that. In terms of this thing with reporters and Biden, look, reporters didn't think that Hillary Clinton was hip. They didn't think Donald Trump was hip or was going to win. So guess what? Tough luck, reporters. I mean, you just go out there and cover the story. But I do think that a lot of people are just like, especially reporters, oh, Biden's not exciting. Biden's not Obama.
Well, one thing that doesn't seem to work in this new political age is being a phony. So Elizabeth Warren loves attacking the wealthy, but it turns out that she has no problem taking their money. She's also very wealthy herself. And now she's being called out for the hypocrisy, as Dana pointed out. Turns out she took a bunch of corporate cash in 2018 that she's rolled over to help fund her current campaign. So, Greg, she's been on this kick of, I don't take corporate money. I'm only listening to the grassroots. I just want small donors. But she's more than happy to actually take a lot of corporate money.
I just see, every time I see her, I see Jiminy Cricket, and I don't know why. I don't know why. The problem is, what she is saying, her entire idea of banning fracking to taxing everybody to sponsor a $1 trillion fantasy is not going to prevent an apocalypse at all. It's actually going to speed up the apocalypse.
Correct.
Because other countries are going to fill the void who are less compassionate about the earth than we are, who aren't going to listen to a 12-year-old climate activist and take their marching orders from her. Once we step off the world stage, there's going to be Iran, there's going to be Russia, Venezuela are all going to step in, and they just see the environment as just another road bump on the speed highway to love.
Dana, in terms of the messaging on this...
To Marianne?
To Marianne.
Yeah, to Marianne. The Democrats in Detroit during the first debate talked about banning cars for the sake of the Green New Deal.
Yeah.
Are they going to talk about banning fracking in Texas?
I don't know.
I mean, are they going to go there?
Well, it'll be interesting. You asked if Warren was going to push Biden left. Like, they're already left. He said he was going to end fossil fuels in 10 years. Basically, since they had a last debate, one of the candidates that will be up there, Andrew Yang, talked about a possible mandatory buyback of your gas-guzzling vehicle.
Right.
And be replaced by an electric vehicle. I mean, they're already there. I don't think it matters if they do it in Houston or anywhere because now it's all a national campaign.
Well, Andrew Yang is supposedly going to have a little bit of fun tonight, so let's listen to what he's challenged President Trump on.
Let's not.
It would be Donald Trump because I would school him Donald Trump, oh my gosh, he'd just be standing there being like, and I'd be like, score left, score right, score jump shot.
Jesse, Trump or Yang on the basketball court?
Yeah, Yang looks like he's got some game. I saw him play a little bit. He was dunking on an 8-foot rim, which is fine. He had a decent handle and a nice jump shot. But, you know, all these things are solved on the golf course where they should be.
Yeah.
And I think Trump would smoke them.
Well, Juan, President Trump is actually trolling the candidates tonight. His campaign is going to have a huge banner saying socialism sucks, essentially, outside of the debate. Who do you think wins that argument on socialism?
Well, I don't think there's anything that Democrats can do that would prevent Donald Trump from calling them socialists.
But they are.
They are not socialists, but
Well, they could ban airplanes like they did in the Green New Deal.
If you want to see what a socialist is. These are people, I mean, if you say Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid are socialists, I think you lose big time with American voters. But Trump, this is just trolling. This is silliness, and I hope the Democrats don't pay attention. David Axelrod had a piece today in the New York Times saying, don't let Trump get away with this kind of stuff, this jujitsu. Use his energy,
It's too late.
negative energy.
It's
against
too late, Juan. Trump has effectively introduced a new kind of campaigning. He has introduced the concept of the Harlem Globetrotters into politics. Watch me come to town and plaster the Washington Generals. That's what it's going to be now. He's going to go through this whole thing, and wherever the Democrats show up, he's going to have a little war room and go, what can we do to mess with them? And you can't go back after this. Even if he loses, people are going to be doing this way differently.
Yeah, but people get tired of this.
Oh, I'm not. It's just getting started.
We've seen this act for now. We saw it in 2016, and he doesn't stop.
When you're at the beach and then you hear that noise and you look up and you see the plane flying a little banner about dollar Coronas, it's a good feeling.
Is that right?
Yeah, everybody loves that.
Nobody looks away from this show. That's for sure.